I don't think primarying her is an effective use of resources. If Bernie were to be president, she would rubber
hard
stamp
disagree.
whatever.
Hard disagree, but I'll explain.
Fascinating.
Hard
Why?
disagree.
Why? Tell me. Tell me.
Well, all right. 3 reasons. One is she is so emblematic of how totally weak the left is. And this is somebody like, let's be real. Like I feel like Warren, like, all right, here's the deal. This is somebody who basically started doing politics in like her 50s. She had no, like, in fact, from what we do know, she was like very much on the right. And
she was a Republican for a while.
And also like talked at the Federalist Society. And frankly, like all of these things that like, you know, not to relitigate everything, but like when it came out that she did that corporate consulting stuff and had clients that were questionable, everybody flooded the end zone with like, no, it isn't, like, this is complicated, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, like, I don't care what it was. It should have been used to totally kneecap her out of the gate because this is politics. And there should have never been any like they're running together or any of this nonsense. Like, she's the competition. And while she's in there, she's distracting from what the race always was. And the race
but that contradicts what you're saying, is that Bernie's better than all of us, and that's what makes him great. And he wasn't going to meet.
Well, Bernie being better than all of us, he would be even that much more better if he kneecapped Elizabeth Warren, because that's his one missing. I mean, and I think this is also where where people like us need to check in with, because I think that she's a threat and she's undermining like Bernie, and she's never going to get anywhere herself. She has very limited appeal. So indulging that campaign blocks us from taking on Biden for months, which is funny because people are always like, why don't you go after Biden? It's like, well, because the people who watch and listen to me are wasting time not getting on board with Bernie. And we can't even focus on the big picture as long as we're like messing around with Warren, Yang, and Tulsi. Like, these are like the big energy suck, time waste candidates. But moving forward, like, why?
I don't think it's fair to put her in the same bucket as Tulsi and Yang.
I would say she's objectively worse in terms of like.
And Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard, yes, because my number one thing is Bernie and like the seriousness of this election. And people who always would tell me that Yang and Gabbard and Warren would eventually like congeal with Bernie or have his back. Tulsi is the only one who ever did that. She was the only one who would come out and say, no, Bernie said I should run for president. Like, Bernie didn't have so fine, good for Tulsi. I mean, you know that I'm speaking from the perspective of like, I didn't feel a need to pretend to be a fan of any of them. I'm like, Bernie and everybody else can eat shit from day one. But I definitely think that, yeah, Warren, Yang and Gabbard could get, you know, they can get critique because they don't have social capital like Warren. But Warren was actually way more destructive and narcissistic in the race. But
well, yeah, and the thing is,
more.
Go on.
I'll shut up in a second. But I would primary her because this is somebody who has no actual politics, and even the bank stuff. Like, let's be honest, the bank stuff is what leveraged somebody who just does not like. She's not built for politics. She's not built like. That level of entitlement is like I used to think she should have challenged Hillary Clinton in 2016. And I'm like, Hillary Clinton would have fucking killed her because she can't deal with anything. Like, what would she have had against Hillary Clinton? Because, you know, Hillary Clinton would have done the same moves. Like, okay, you've got all your bank stuff, but that won't solve racism. And I have a job to do here. And Warren would have just went, you know, like pushing up her glasses.
I mean, Elizabeth Warren was an extremely effective attack dog against Mike Bloomberg.
But
that's a
all that helped was push more votes to Biden. And that was another thing that everybody told me for ages, like, wait till Warren gets her hands on Biden. Well, I started.
Never did, yeah.
And I started saying several months ago, that's never going to happen. And it never happens because that's not her calculation. So I feel like Bloomberg won, you know, Bloomberg Bloomberg spent a ton of money and helped divert Bernie, and she had a sideshow with Bloomberg. But
yeah, I mean, the problem with
primary her because she is somebody who had a small period of time where she did some good work on a relatively narrow set of issues. She has a terrible foreign policy, and her primary contribution to public life is poisoning the well for the best chance that we had in national politics.